Welcome to London Property's Global Real Estate Outlook with Farnaz Fazaipour, in association with Lee Summers, founder of the Summers Global Team. Explore the latest trends in major markets worldwide with a network of 18 global agents and 47 satellite agents.
Hello and welcome to London Property. This is your host Farnaz Fazaipour, and we're delighted to welcome Lee Summers back to the show. Lee, please give us a little brief introduction for those listeners who haven't heard about what you're doing with regards to your global real estate presence.
Thank you, Farnaz. I run the Summers Global Team, which in essence are different people, different brokers around the world. And I keep quite a lot of contacts where we have the actual brokers, and then we have what is known as satellite people. So if somebody says, I want Singapore, I want New Delhi, or if somebody wants something in the Midwest, which is very popular, let's say Aspen, or let's move on to Europe. If somebody wants England, of course, and Spain and Portugal, we have top people who can take care of them. And there's a lot of places that people would like to buy, let's say like an area in France, like the Dordogne. Some people are interested in investing in wineries. We have a vineyard division, and we have people that can handle top brokers in all these different areas, and they're small areas, and we can handle that too. We do a lot of research with our brokers, and they're all professional, some with top agencies in different parts of the world. So we do a connection for everybody. And I'm also happy to answer questions for people and get good people for handling the money end of it, the investing side, the laws, the legalities of buying, especially, let's say, once buying in New York, which is a fascinating thing for a lot of people. Buying in New York is extraordinarily easy. Everything's handled by a lawyer and an accountant, and we handle that, and you don't even have to come. It's very easy. And needless to say, very safe. And probably very good money making, because we also handle, if somebody, let's say, buys for investment in New York, we then handle getting renters for them.
So it's like a one-stop shop for somebody who wants to do something in another country, and they want to make sure that they're connected with the right people. And what you bring to the table is really your experience enables you to really start having a relationship with some of these top brokers in different countries and judge from what you've learned over the decades that you've been in the business if somebody has got that caliber that you're looking for.
Absolutely. And the fact is that because I was with an international firm, I was executive director of Sotheby's for so long, that the contacts that I made throughout the world, and people are very happy, the brokers around the world are very happy when I say, because they feel that they want their product to get out there. When somebody has something in a country and you say, we'd like to send American clients or British clients or whatever, we're interested, they get very excited because it opens up a whole new market for them rather than a local market.
Yeah, which is increasingly becoming a thing, I think when you and I first started in the industry, if somebody said to you, can you sell this for me in South Africa? We're so like busy doing what we're doing that the concept of trying to help someone in another country was nice, but it was never going to happen.
It was never going to happen. And plus the fact that I think probably because of so many years of doing this, I have these names. I have these brokers who I keep in touch with.
Well, you remember the gems, right? When you meet people, you're like, that guy can get this done.
Exactly. And that's everything is due to knowing the right person.
Yeah.
So if somebody calls you up, like I get a lot of calls from lawyers and accountants, and they say, we have a client and they're interested in getting a pied-à-terre, in Zurich, and, we called you, what would you suggest?
Yeah.
And
Checkpoint
go to my little
Charlie. You're
stick and I say,
Checkpoint
well,
Charlie,
I know,
aren't you?
so,
Yeah.
whatever, and whoever
Yeah.
in Zurich, and I met him, and he's very nice, and I contact the person in Zurich, and I say, I might have a client for you, tell me, what's new. It's such a small world now.
It is a small world.
It's so different than it used to be that it's almost easy. And now, with WhatsApp, you dial the phone and you get them on the phone, and it's like talking to somebody in the next
your
room.
colleagues have become global. So let's have a quick catch up. And welcome to London, by the way. It's nice to do it in person. Let's have a quick catch up of what's going on in New York. I'll tell you a snapshot of what's going on in London, and then maybe we can just touch on some of the things that have happened since we last spoke, where you've seen some movement in different jurisdictions. So let's start with New York. What's happening? Apart from the fact that you've got a very exciting change going on with the new president, it's almost like watching a movie every day, which is what I do every day.
It's entertaining.
It's
entertaining. Every day we open the newspaper and don't know what what's expect. Turn on the news, don't know what to expect.
He's definitely not dull.
But no, it's not dull. It's actually in the scheme of things, it seems to be proven quite popular. We'll see. Time will tell. Time will tell.
And has that had an effect on the local market? Are you seeing more enthusiasm?
And there's always, we've got a lot of product on the market in New York City now. For some reason, I don't know. There's a lot of buying and selling. It's not, if it was just selling, I'd say, wow, what's going on? But it's people buying. So there's a lot of people, there's a lot of turnover. There's a lot of people moving around. Moving around has become so easy. It used to be somebody would buy something and there they would sit for 15 years and they'd keep it. And their children would go off to school, would go away, and they say it's time to sell. Nowadays, people, they keep something a few years. They say, let's have something in Aspen. Let's go, wind down a bit. And our apartment's too big. Let's get something smaller, and then we'll buy a separate apartment in the Caribbean. Let's do that. There's a lot of people are less frightened about real estate. They're just really open about real estate. Used to say to somebody, buy an apartment in the Bahamas, and they would look at you, like, what do you mean? Now it's easier.
It almost feels like COVID gave everybody wings. Right? It's like before you were really stuck in your own ways. Now people seem to have become a lot more creative. It's like life's too short. How do I want to live? Where do I want to go? What do I want to do? And then they're actually actioning it.
And what's the biggest, probably the help on something like this is probably during COVID, people looked at internet more. Before it was business, you were on, your computer constantly. But now people are searching around. It's easy. Oh, look at this place. And you press a button and there's all the information on the place. There's pictures, there's information, there's money, how you can borrow. It's like it's easy.
It's become easier.
Come up with these things, I always wanted this area or that area. You press a button and there's all the information at your fingertips.
Do you think the activity in New York is because prices have kind of become more realistic, so people are buying and selling, or how did that come about? Why do you think the activity has come?
New York is New York. The prices in New York, compared when I travel around and I see the prices, and what you get in New York is really incredible, because we Americans, if I dare say this, are a little bit spoiled. Where's the doorman? Where's the, I want to have this delivered. I want to have this done. They want everything done for them. You buy an apartment in New York, everything's done for you. And it's getting more and more. There's the new buildings all have wine rooms, wine tasting rooms. And I mean,
it's a lifestyle.
It just takes your breath away.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle. But what stops people a little bit is the price of the apartments actually are kind of fair for what you're getting. It is.
Is your kind of fair $20 million?
Well, for what you get, for $20 million, you're getting a lifestyle.
Yeah.
You're not just getting an apartment. You're getting a lifestyle.
But what's causing this activity that you're noticing? Has it been flat for a while and people just got fed up and they need to do something?
No.
Have the prices become more realistic, or there's a new president and people know what's going on?
It's just people, New York just, every time somebody comes up with, New York, and then all of a sudden they go, everybody wants New York. There's everything there.
Right.
It is so easy to live.
It's an international destination, isn't it?
Word. It's easy to live in New York. You want anything in New York, you lift a phone, and if they don't come within 24 hours, you're finding somebody else.
You snooze, you lose in New York, that's for sure.
We are so spoiled there, really. But your monthly co-op and condo fees are high. Your monthly real estate taxes. So you're paying, so you're paying for the apartment, but then your monthly fees are high. So a lot of people who are from around the world, their fees for monthly are much, much less.
Yeah.
But ours is inclusive of everything being given to you. You hello, you call up, I'm coming to New York, I want my fridge stocked, I want this. And we are used to having.
So you don't have to have your own personal staff because they're so heavily serviced, these apartment buildings. Serviced,
and you don't need to have your own stuff because you say, I'm coming to New York for 2 weeks, and they would have a stuff. The building has a stuff. This is all available. Yeah. People are used to this. And everything is delivered. Everything is delivered. The food, it's 5:00 and you want this. There's always somebody delivering this food to you from all the top restaurants in New York. I think Americans are very spoiled when it comes to service. And that's why maybe they complain a little bit when they go to different places because they're expecting that. Now, this is New York. The rest of the country, the monthly prices are much less. So your condo and co-op prices are much less. New York has a lot of co-ops. The rest of the country, it's mostly condos. Yeah. New York is now more and more condos.
So the reason I was asking this is because I always find that New York and London have kind of this relationship where, similar things happen. Because what we're expecting in 2025 and in London is that there will be more activity. And the reason that there'll be more activity, we think, is because the market has been flat for about 10 years, first of all. And second of all, a lot of the competition from very wealthy overseas people is kind of on the back burner at the moment with all the changes that we've had with the non-doms leaving. So we think that the market is potentially going to go back to the locals. And the activity that we're going to see here this year is going to be very much local people getting back on the housing ladder. And it's certainly something that the government want to happen. So our activity here, we're relying on that. So what is going to happen to that mid-market? Well, mid-market in these millions and millions, it's not really mid-market, but, sort of between 5, maybe even a bit more, maybe 6, 7 million to 20 million market. We wonder, that was the people who got targeted tax-wise. So what's going to happen in that market will be really interesting for us to see this year. But, that's the reason I was asking you, because sometimes, America's that much further ahead, so we can see what could potentially be coming to us. And that's why I kept asking you, what do you think is causing the activity in New York at the moment?
It just is a place, about the thing about New York. And, I travel around the world, I'm really cognizant of what goes on in different areas as far as real estate is concerned. But New York is extraordinarily easy. It's the easiest place to live.
So it could be just people coming from other countries as well. Now that they know.
Expect this and that. Yeah. Everything is just done. Yeah. You don't have to think.
Maybe you're getting the people we're losing.
Yeah.
All right. The people we're losing in London, they think, okay, let's just go buy in New York then. But London, where the regulations are getting less day by day.
Right. And we have very strong organizations that counter when they start getting crazy. And now we have a president who is,
globally getting rid of regulations.
He's anti, certain regulations. The world has become so regulated. Some countries, of course, more than others. I think that probably California is going to have a hard time now. California has environmental problems. It's a big problem.
What do you mean, the fires, earthquakes, etc.?
They're so easy to start. There's always something going on in California, and the fires are a major
thing. Awful, yeah.
And the insurance problems, the insurance premiums and things like that, which, we don't have. I think that Asia also is not as it was. A huge, big force used to be Hong Kong. Hong Kong was like a center of everything, a meeting place of people all over Asia coming up to meet in Hong Kong. And of course, Hong Kong's prices for real estate were always huge. I mean, it was just huge, a lot of money to buy in Hong Kong.
Yeah, very small properties for a lot of money.
Wealthy people buy in Hong Kong. Now, Hong Kong, there's a lot of sort of like underground things where people are not buying and they're just not going into Hong Kong, which some of my Hong Kong friends would be very angry if, they heard me say that, but that is what's happening.
They might hear you say that.
They might hear me say
if we've
that.
got enough followers that include your friends.
I love Hong Kong.
But no, so it's interesting you're going to different places, because that was going to be my next question. So since the last time we spoke, if you had to give me, 3 things that are happening that are showing something new trend, where do you see movement globally?
You mean an area?
Just from a real estate perspective, if you would say, interestingly, this is happening in America, or that's happening in Europe, this is happening in Asia. What have you noticed from talking to your global network of agents? What's going on? Well,
there's a lot of movement in Portugal. Portugal was sort of like always on the back burner. It was never. How do I say this? Spain.
It was a good place to retire and play golf, is what you're saying.
Yes, and also, they didn't have much infrastructure. Portugal, because it's not a country that has a huge amount of money.
Yeah.
So what would happen is, then they brought in that program where you could,
the golden visa,
purchase, for 500,000, and you would then after 5 years you would be able to join the EU, and this became very attractive for a lot of people, for a lot of Asian people, to have a chance to become an EU, to be part of the EU after 4 or 5 years. This was, so they did the golden visa. That they stopped. They might have it in certain areas, and they do have it for commercial. If you buy some commercial, they still have it intact. But there's a huge amount of people who now are interested in Portugal, and they're interested in buying there. The weather is nice. The infrastructure has gotten better. The people are speaking more and more English. That's very important, because English is an international language, and Portugal was a little bit behind. So you would go there, and menus would not be the waiters didn't speak English, and this was hard.
They were not used to the international traffic, and now they become more used to the international traffic. People potentially have friends who went there because of the golden visa, so now there's other interest coming.
And there's a lot of interest. Yeah. The prices have gone up dramatically.
Yeah.
Portugal used to be where you got the bargain.
Yeah.
But as the prices have gone up, the big thing in Europe, I think, I watch because I love that city, is Madrid. Madrid is
booming. A lot of money from Mexico is going there for private equity. And, I think that you can see that the interest in Madrid. Spain is, in any case, having a golden era. I always said, they're having so much of a golden era that they won the football, they won Wimbledon, and they're all on a high.
They're on a high.
Which is great news for me, because, we've got some interest in Seville. But it is really a country that is having a golden era, isn't it?
But they were good at it, because what they've done? It's clean. It's so clean. Everybody comments when they go there how the streets are clean. Yeah. Everything.
And they all have brand new motorways everywhere. It's like
the infrastructure.
Yeah.
We have we handle vineyards, and we have a vineyard, and they're building a road down, and they're going to build a Ritz down. I mean, they're just building away, and they're bringing real railroads in different areas so people can get around from Madrid and Barcelona, all around here. The food, and everybody has started to talk about the food in Spain, is really fantastic. The waiters all speak English. It's a lot of restaurants that have opened there are truly international in nature, and people feel very comfortable going there. Now, what's very interesting, and I want to talk about this, is hotels go where money is. And Madrid, every top name is now in Madrid. Every top name hotel in the world has opened up a hotel.
That's a really good tip. That's a really good tip, when you start seeing hotels open up.
when you have a fantastic rosewood and you have a fantastic Mandarin Peninsula, and when you have things one after the Villa Magna, when you have these hotels, it means they've done their homework.
Done their homework. They know where they're going.
They know where
Anywhere
they're going.
else that you've noticed things in Europe?
What's very interesting is Italy has become, there used to be a little joke because people would think, well, maybe Italy, forgive me, anybody I don't want to insult anybody, was not as efficient, or you could, but now the real estate world, you need to buy something, you need to sell something. They've got great brokers. They have the commissions down pat. One pays one thing, one pays another. There's a definite system.
Lucky them, because our commissions are the worst in the Western world.
I'm sorry to say that England has to be taken.
I mean, honestly.
They have to be taken in. But Italy has got it down. And we have a fabulous office in Milan. Yeah. And a lot of Americans going to move in Milan, which is kind of interesting. Yeah. Very interesting.
Well, because they've introduced this tax that you can pay $200,000 a year and be exempt from worldwide. Exactly. So that's attracted a lot of wealth.
I think it's 4% or something like that, and it's like really easy because that's all you pay for. If you become.
I thought it was just a flat fee, but anyway, we're not tax experts. We won't go there. So where else in the world have you noticed anything? I know that you've started conversations in India.
Yes. India, it's not like we have people saying we have to move, to Bombay.
But there's a lot of interest the other way, right? From
there's a lot
Indian
of money
buyers.
Transactions in, I think what is an area that I am not an expert on, and I would love to be, is Australia. That gets such fantastic feedback, Australia, and for us. In the Western world, it's so far.
It's too. I tell you something. Someone told me about it because I actually went there on my honeymoon as one of the stops that we made. And when I said to a friend of mine, "This place is amazing," she said, "It's too far away for people to go and ruin it."
That's a good,
right?
That's a good.
So you're noticing people asking about Australia?
People do ask about Australia. It is what's happening though is a small thing. We're having a few planes a day that go direct.
Right.
From Texas, you can go direct. I think from Los Angeles.
I dread to think how long that takes.
When an airplane can go direct to a country, it's like Singapore Airways. From New York, there's 2 or 3 planes direct into Singapore.
Right, so that starts having an impact.
It's 20 hours, but it is...
They're a bit like the hotels. They've done their research. They know that the traffic is coming. And once they start having straight lines to that, then something's up.
Something is up.
Right.
And so Australia it's one of the longest flights in the world. I forget who's flying it. But Australia, every time you hear about Australia, somebody always says something nice about it. And everybody has their favorite little areas. It's a matter of going.
So if you're a top broker and you're listening to Lee, this would be the time to get in touch with Lee about Australia.
Australia is, I believe... but of course it is the distance. I mean, it is not for, everybody. I mean, in the end, the closest thing in the end is when you have that UK-US connection. The connection, the flying, the easy of coming, it's when I came in from New York, get to the airport, get on the plane, 6.5 hours, I land and I'm in, it's just like, it's so easy.
And there's so many flights a day. Well, listen, I'm not going to take up too much of your time because I know you're here for a short visit. Thank you for talking to us. Oh, my God. And we love to get our, couple of months apart updates from you of what's going on. And for our listeners, it's important to know that if you want to be connected to the top brokers in any destination, check in with us because we might be able to have that solution that you're looking for. So thank you very much, Lee, and I look forward to speaking to you again, either in person or virtually.
Oh, thank you, Farnaz. Nice speaking to you and seeing you again.
Thanks for tuning in to our Global Real Estate Outlook. For personalized advice, contact us to connect with the right expert for your property needs. Stay informed and make smart property decisions with londonproperty.co.uk and the Summers Global team.